Aloha. Today I wanted to expand off the last video and go into the power structure and how it's set up, and it's been being set up for these last few decades for this next shift as of collective movement or understanding, and kind of related to the old school shifts where it shifted from the church to science. Now it's shifting from science to the spirit or the soul. And this orchestrated shift, just as in the past it went from the science or the church to the scientific, the heliocentric model of understanding and making everything like simplified through science. And that's why the heliocentric model was accepted, because they were selling it as something simple, something people could understand. And they really just wanted to give people a toy, like give people a globe to hold in their hands for a long time, and then base an entire system and series of lies on that to build up the power within an artificial, an illusory frequency, to keep people in that totally separate state of being, even from their own earth plane existence, their very purpose and existence and connection to a creation. Even before that, when people realized that they were on a flat earth, before the globe model came out, people were at least noticeably connected to their obvious awareness of their surroundings, not in an ignorant state of we're on a ball where nothing is at all like verifiable. None of it makes sense. So if our very trusting of our eyes and our reality and our conscious engagement in the physical reality doesn't make sense, then we don't make sense. Like, our existence doesn't make sense at all. So when it shifted from the church to science, like science became the new church, then they were priming the next step of evolution, and this next step of conscious engagement in the physical reality, because it was from separation before, and now it's going into connection. So it's like a frequency, up and down, up and down, up and down, just like they play with your emotions on television, where the commercials come in, and it's this up and down frequency playing with your lower chakras, your sexual desires, your food desires, your relationships, your emotions, your like whole emotional body. Everything is being manipulated on a flicker rate moment every moment of the day. And these new shifts that people are starting to realize within the internal connections with spirit, with the soul, and with their connection to the earth plane, and realizing all this stuff is going to be kind of channeled in this certain way. And these individuals that have been primed to be put in our faces as like the people who are successful, the people who've made it, the people who have they surpassed the all the barriers. They made it, they did it, and now we have to be like them. We have to be like the super friends, and these super friends that are out there that have been primed by the television and our music and our movies and our politics and our university system. They have designed this pretty much system that if you go against it or say anything counter to it, then something is seriously wrong with you. The same with like they did with the witches in the Salem witch hunts, and all the other times where they destroyed all the the Native Americans here, and then the indigenous peoples all over the world told them they were savages for having their own connections outside of the group thought, the hive mind, the mainstream of that time. So today's version of that is like these powerhouses that have been put in our face in movies like Selma. Like Selma came out like a few years ago in order to prime the foundation for the Black Lives Matter movement and channel that energy into politics itself, which is why Killer Mike got involved and related Bernie Sanders to Martin Luther King, and that whole channel of thought process. Meanwhile, we are getting triggered by these genetically modified ideas of awakening and being sold more of the same with a new jacket, with like a new understanding, and will probably get sold when they implode the dollar and come out with the United Nations with this flat earth stuff, and do the orchestrated version of that. Give some kind of credit, like do something with the money and put some kind of credit out there. But the main thing is I want to focus on is for people not to fall into this powerless, hopeless state of being where other people are dictating your conscious engagement and your awakening because something sounds good. As they get these people on here, there's this list. They have all these. This is the master class, Oprah's master class, and she has on her network. Like when she split from the network television and had her own network, that was a big move. Like that was a big deal. She was making some like, yeah, it was very important. So when that happened, and then she started to move into like the spiritual community and consciousness, and started to talk, invite people like Eckhart Tolle on her show, and he's talking about oneness and this whole thing. And I read a few of Eckhart Tolle's books a few years ago, and his information, like, it resonates, it's on point, but it's the way this energy is being manipulated and to sell a particular agenda, which is what gets me. It's like it's a thing beyond the content, and goes into the intent of how this program is being designed and sold to people. Because like I said in the last video, you can't only focus on the lightness. You can't focus only on, how beautiful and wonderful everything is, which is how and what this program is designed to sell in, because we've been dominated by darkness for so long, orchestrated darkness for so long by these same individuals behind these faces that you trust, that anything that is nice, even if it's a genetically modified TV dinner, we're gonna eat it up. And they know that, so they have these people out there like Oprah Winfrey, Ellen DeGeneres, and all her super friends to get you to believe that this is what awakening smells like. This is what it looks like. So they have these headpieces to lead up these particular versions of your reality. Like Ellen DeGeneres and the LGBT community, and Barack Obama passing all this stuff. It's the timing. It's the timing of everything. And these master class, they mix it in. Like, what's Jay-Z doing with Maya Angelou? Like, what's Condoleezza Rice doing up there with Maya Angelou, Jane Fonda, like Bon Jovi and Maya Angelou? Like, see, I keep referencing Maya Angelou because she represents this essence, and they put it. You can see it in the beginning. It's a code. It's like, okay, we got to get people. These are the people we want to get. They're going after the millennials when they hit season 1, episode 1. Oprah's coming out with her new stuff, a master class. Before this is even put on air, you have to see who they're going after. So they gotta say, obviously it's Oprah, so they gotta get the struggle. They gotta get the group of people who are in the deepest struggle in her focus group. So they get Jay-Z out there. It's directly related, linked to Obama and that whole scene, whatever the next card is going to be played. So it's Jay-Z, then Diane Sawyer, because you don't want to be seeming racist. You got to have, the mixture in there. And then Maya Angelou, boom, anchor it in on the 3rd episode. Like, I really like this now. Like, Maya Angelou is on here. So she sets the foundation for everybody else. Then he brings Simon Cowell's ass in there. What the hell? Like, I didn't even recognize that. But Simon Cowell comes in next. And then they're basing all of these so-called masters on a financially successful space. It's not about their character beyond this space. But they have to make it feel like it has this character beyond this space when they have people like Maya Angelou and people you trust and feel and hear their voices, like Morgan Freeman and who else? That's pretty much it on here. Like Civil Rights Special, Belief Special, Patti LaBelle, The Rock, Smokey Robinson, Ellen DeGeneres, Sidney Poitier, like this whole, so they it's very, it's a calibration algorithm, how they set it up, excuse me, how they set it up for you to believe all of them. So they sprinkle in a few for you to believe all of them, and believe the system itself is okay. But individually, these individuals are thinking they're doing something great. Like they're like, oh, okay, good, we're making a change. But it's not about excuse me, the individuals. It's about how this whole system is designed in itself. So this is how they're merging it with Hollywood and politics, and then the same way they're merging science or the mainstream with the science community and that whole space of like what tomorrow's consciousness will scientifically look like, or what it will look like on television. They want to design this whole shift around the structure that's already been placed in front of us. And I'll play this real quick so you can see like how the verbiage of what these individuals are sounding like, and what they're selling, because you see spirit here, but you see just to the right of it is the materialistic version of reality. It's not for you. It's not for the spirit itself. It's not coming from the indigenous spirit. It's coming from the materialistic ego version of what spirit might look like to a broken system. And they're going to use information, energies that are rooted in truth, in a depth that's connected to a spirit. So it'll resonate with you. You can feel it. The same reason why they're using channelers. It maxes out at a level of oneness, which is the artificial oneness. Now there is a oneness that exists, but that's not everything. That's not all of it. It's more to it. It's more complicated than that. So this is like how they sold in the heliocentric model as simplicity of understanding your universe based upon like those perspectives. So this is like the simple version of spirit and soul and oneness and connection, just called oneness. That's it. It's just oneness. Shut up. Don't ask any questions. Don't be starting wars anymore. This is the age of Aquarius. It's not time for war anymore. This is time for oneness. And they got the gurus out there, and the yoga teams, and your people who are on television connected to the politics, who will make you believe that it's just okay. Don't look any further into what's going on here, what's happened. Don't look into the underneath the Vatican and underneath the British Museum and underneath the Smithsonian. Don't look into all that stuff, because it's just about, change and oneness. And here, just take this credit, this new money, take this new style of mainstream information, and just shut your mouth. And here's what it's gonna sound and feel like. It's these Deepoks and Tullys.
Spirituality is a journey into self-awareness and finding out who you really are. It's your true self, beyond your social mask, beyond your ego. And
So beyond your true self, beyond your ego, beyond the materialistic advertisements they have right next to this video, beyond this, she's still pumping out genetically Monsanto ads in her old magazine. It's this whole thing that's there, that's directly linked into the alternative news, but you're like not knowing how to trust or whatever. But this is, I'll play some more.
when we are there, we experience love, compassion, joy,
Love,
creativity. But we also find spiritual insight, intuition,
love, compassion.
unbounded imagination, free will, and choice. We find the solutions to every problem, because problems come from contracted state of awareness. Solutions come from expanded state.
So this is that whole, like, if you say anything against this new spiritual awakening, then you are contracted. You are at a war with, what the new is, and then you will be cast out as a bad guy, because anything that says anything counter to somebody like Eckhart Tolle's got a problem. That's what they're gonna say. Like, listen to, like,
Is to reach the formless within yourself, which is where you and God merge, where you and the
that's
source of all life
this is the oneness.
merge, where the little me realizes its true reality, where the little ripple realizes that it is the ocean.
So this is this is how it's gonna be sold. They got Oprah as like the radio host to bring in the spirit, and Beyonce and Jay-Z to get the younger generation to believe in politics and believe in the new version of politics. They got the new age community that's gonna sell in this this new church, this new style of oneness church. They got your everyday realities of like sexuality and your entertainment covered with all these people. It's all, like I said, it's just gonna be, it's like a smart generation. It's the smartphone, smart meters, smart water, smart gun, smart technology. It's gonna be this smart oneness, and it'll just be a microwave TV dinner, chicken and French fries, humanity awakening, chicken nuggets, but they won't go into the depths of your spirit and connection to nature and what happened to the indigenous people, what's still happening, the depths of justice in that space, and These are the defenders, the front line defenders of that that whole next space. And like I said, like they're gonna sell it in with these catchy quotes and these catchy individuals who are there to just like Neil deGrasse Tyson does when he gets into this astrophysicist, this is all about, I know about this stuff, I'm not going to argue with the church. It's about science. It's about, the future. It's about NASA. It's about space. We're going into stars. We're moving on. Just move on. Forget about, that stuff. Let go of all that. It's time to become a master. It's time to become like the master class. Let's just accept this new slash old version of our reality, and let's just move on in this consciousness shift, and forget about what's happened, and it'll be a new control grid. So I just wanted to share these sort of kind of like algorithms that are out there being sold to usher in this new genetically modified version of awakening, and give people another way of looking at this space, and to challenge people to not have to hold on to anything from sold by other people. Like these people who get out there, these are all actors. These are all people who are out there acting in front of you to make you believe like you can trust the whole system as a whole. Now, that's why I said not necessarily is there anything wrong with each of these individuals. Most of them are probably just like the everyday person, and a lot of them probably don't even know the depths of what's going on here. Most of them do. I guess it's time to go. So the yeah, but it's beyond what's being sold. It's beyond just the basic levels of how they can sell in what the spirit and the soul looks like. If you're not going into the elders and your own intuition, then you're gonna be missing out, because this stuff right here is bogus, and best believe it's gonna be set up for the benefit of the few, not the many. It'll look that way. It might even feel that way, but in the long run, it will not be that way. So if we challenge ourselves to go beyond that space, and we'll be able to point this stuff out, which is the first step to inhabiting our true potentiality. So I'll leave it there, and thank you for joining me. Until next time, peace, love, and harmony.